36-year-old Joseph Grossman, the proprietor of Poppy's Peanuts, is being prosecuted for pursuing 2 minor females who worked for him at his establishment, pursuing them sexually and corrupting their morals. This establishment doesn't just sell roasted peanuts, but it's a family establishment in that it sells chocolates, old-fashioned style candies, and ice cream. Largely, the clientele is families and children, and there are minor children that work for this individual at his establishment. The first minor victim worked for Grossman, and she described that during her employment, he was unrelenting in his pursuit of her, both touching her body sexually and pursuing her with sexual advances. Ultimately, she resigned from this position because of his conduct. She happened to see him in person at a later occasion, and he actually offered her money to engage in a sexual act. And when she was visibly upset, and it was clear she was upset and shocked by his request, he then, in fact, doubled down and offered her 3 times the original amount of money, pulling out a roll of cash and offering her $300 and also offering her drugs. Thankfully, this child victim confided in her mom, and thankfully they both made a child line report, which started the investigation by Detective Matthew Lawhead of the Richland Township Police Department. Ultimately, Grossman was charged for that victimization, and while those allegations were pending prosecution, a second victim came forward and described almost the identical conduct. But with this victim, what is really troubling is not only did he continually pursue her sexually and make the comments and physically touch her body, but he also provided her with drugs. On one occasion, she said at the closing of the business for the evening, he lit up a pipe and had her ingest the contents of that pipe, which smelled like marijuana, but she said it was so potent that it made her feel very dizzy and it made her feel unsafe. She was no longer in his employment, and he continued to pursue her via Snapchat. When she and her mother learned of the arrest and the victimization of another victim, they too came forward, and then an investigation followed into her victimization. Given the nature of this conduct, we have concerns that there'll be additional victims. As mentioned, this is a business that largely caters to families, to children. It's an ice cream shop. It's an old-fashioned candy shop, and he employs minors. So we have concerns that his behavior was ongoing for several months. We have concerns there may be other victims, and that's why we're appealing to the community. For anyone who may have information as it relates to these victims, but also any information as it relates to Grossman that may be pertinent to our investigation. But of course, if anyone else was victimized, we urge you to please come forward. I commend these victims. It's critical that victims understand that we're going to support them, and we're going to investigate, and we're going to prosecute these crimes to the fullest. I also commend their parents. It's so important that children can trust their parents to disclose this type of behavior, knowing that the parents are going to do what's necessary. And then, of course, I commend the amazing investigation that was done, and I'm confident in this team and the prosecution. So with that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
So both women or both girls were employees of his?
They were minor employees of his.
And the second victim, about when did this happen?
Her victimization happened for over the course of 5 months, and it was, I believe, January through the springtime.
This year?
This year, correct.
Thank you.
How old were the girls?
They were under 18. They were 17 years old.
Both 17?
Both 17 years old. And again, this is you feel for the parents. These parents entrust their children to, working experience, to earn some money, and this person is in a position of control and authority. And you commend children who want to work and parents who want to let their children work and earn a living. But then you have an individual victimize their children. It's just such a betrayal of trust on so many levels.
How long did Grossman work there?
It's his business. He's the proprietor of that business.
Has he been, have additional charges been filed yet?
Additional charges have been filed, and so he's being prosecuted for the victimization allegations pertaining to these 2 victims. But again, we have concerns for other victims. We know he used social media to continue the victimization after the girls were no longer in his employment. And so that's a concern. He was unrelenting in his pursuit of his victims.
Was he married?
I don't know the answer to that. We don't believe so, but I'm not certain.
No children?
Again, I'm sorry, I don't know that answer at this juncture.
And this is a business that is still operating and is still
That, yes, exactly. He's still operating regularly and advertising for employment, for employees to work for him, yes.
Did he seem to exclusively hire underage girls as employees?
Let me, one moment, please. By and large, yes, female employees working for him at his establishment.
Underage teenagers?
Underage, yes.
And it's also inside an establishment where there's other stands and things like that, so there could have been multiple people who came in contact, not just his employees.
You're so right. This is in the Quakertown Farmers Market, is where his business is, and, you know, largely, you know, families patronize that farmers market, but also certainly a candy shop. I mean, it literally draws children by nature of the goods that they sell. If there are no further questions? All right.
Is he still in custody?
He is not. He was able to post bail. Again, that is a matter that's up to a judge to determine what bail is. He was able to post bail, and he is out of custody pending prosecution at this juncture. So, again, why we're being hyper-vigilant to make sure that if there are any other victims that we are aware of that, and that we will continue to investigate with any new information we receive.
Still running his business?
As far as I know, the business is still in operation.
As
What
far
was
as it
the- what was
says
bail?
bail, does he have certain conditions, like, does he have to stay away from minors a certain distance or is it part of the bail? Or-
There is no contact with minors provision. That is correct.
Even if they're working for him.
That's I can tell you that would be a violation of his terms of bail if that's the case.
But what about customers coming in?
Again.
Customers be aware.
It's certainly, if there are children, families patronizing that store and there are children, he is not allowed to be in contact with minors.
How long's he been open? You said a couple of months he thought this would be going on?
I believe the investigation indicated that it was over the course of at least 5 months, if not longer, at least.
That's how long he's been open, that much longer.
Yeah, and you know, we know these cases are so widely underreported. You know, these victims are in a position that is just untenable. They're, you know, working for someone who has complete authority and control over them, and also it's an embarrassing thing to have to disclose and report. So again, we know they're oftentimes widely underreported, and given the frequency of the victimization and the unrelenting pursuit, we just have concerns for if there are more victims, we want to know about it so we can pursue that investigation.
So offering money is prostitution.
It is, and in fact, we need to be abundantly clear. You know, the double edge to that sword is no one is suggesting at all nor blaming the victims at all, but he is pursuing these children, offering money, tripling the financial offer, and offering to provide, and providing, in one case, drugs. So it is, in fact, solicitation of prostitution.
Stan, with what you just said, that it's widely underreported and for the reasons you gave, what's your message to anyone who might want to come forward, but that is barring them from doing so?
You know, I see in these cases often, and I think it speaks to the victims in these cases, you know, maybe someone suffers in silence, but then when they learn there was another victim, sometimes that empowers them to realize, I got to put a stop to it. And, you know, I remember my first job as a young teenager working for an establishment, and I can't even imagine, you know, what I would feel, and I certainly couldn't imagine what my parents would feel knowing that day in and day out this is what the boss was doing, and then pursuing me even beyond his physical reach, you know, by social media. So just proud of these victims, and the process is not easy on victims, but we're going to do everything we can to protect them, and we urge anyone else to come forward if they have information.
Just to be clear, there was no sexual advances, contact, but no sexual activity.
Well, you know, it's a fine line. Corruption of the morals of minors, there's two components, a sexual component and then the offering and providing drugs and money for sex. There's no question the touching that was occurring was sexual in nature. Crimes that are higher graded sexual offenses are very nuanced and very specific where on the body the individual has to touch, but there's no question whatsoever the touching was sexual in nature. All right, thank you. Poppy's Peanuts. But again, ice cream, candy, old-fashioned, you know, chocolate candy store. Bail is presently, I think he posted $25,000 with a no contact with minors provision. Thank you.